The seat that changed everything. They say one small act of kindness can change your life. I didn't believe that, until the day I gave up my first-class seat to a stranger. A stranger who would shatter my family's cruelty and turn my world upside down. Are you out of your mind? My mother's voice tore through the airplane cabin, sharp and high-pitched enough to make passengers whip their heads around. I froze, halfway bent over the aisle, staring at the burned, disabled veteran struggling with his crutches. His Army-issued jacket was threadbare. His left sleeve hung empty where his arm should have been, and his face, God, his face. Burned scars climbed up his jaw, pulling his skin into ridges. His right eye was gone, replaced by a milky scar. His remaining eye looked older than the world. He limped forward one painful step at a time, his prosthetic squeaking against the rubber floor. The flight attendant avoided his gaze. A businessman in first class pretended to type furiously. Everyone saw him, but no one saw him. I couldn't stand it. Here, I said, unbuckling. Take my seat, sir. The veteran stopped, stunned. Ma'am, I can't. Please, I insisted. You need this more than I do. Behind me, my mother hissed like a snake. Evelyn, don't you dare embarrass me. My brother Daniel groaned. Oh, here we go. Playing savior again. He's not your problem. I ignored them. The veteran hesitated, then lowered himself into my first-class seat. His trembling hand brushed mine, warm, strong, calloused. His lips parted, and all he managed was a whisper. Thank you. My mother buried her face in her hands. Daniel chuckled cruelly. Congratulations, sis. You've traded comfort for misery. Real smart. The passengers stared, some disapproving, some surprised, some ashamed. Heat rose in my cheeks, but something deep in my gut told me this single decision, this tiny act of defiance, would ripple far beyond this flight. I didn't know how right I was. A week later, 3 black military SUVs would roar down the dirt road to our crumbling farm, and the same family mocking me now would go utterly silent. I grew up on Carter Farm, 50 acres of stubborn land that refused to die, even when everything else did. When I was little, the farm thrived. My father was a giant of a man, all grit and calloused hands. He believed the land had a soul, and if we respected it, it would feed us. But when he died suddenly of heart failure, everything changed. The barn roof sagged. Crops failed. Debt collectors circled. My mother hardened into bitterness. You should have left, Evelyn, she'd say. Married rich. Instead, you're chained to dirt. Daniel, my older brother, escaped. Moved to the city, wore expensive suits, visited only to sneer. Still here, he'd mock. Gonna marry a scarecrow, Ev? They never understood why I stayed. This land was my father's blood. Even in ruin, it was mine. So when I gave up my seat, their fury was no surprise. You humiliated us, Mom hissed as we disembarked. You think kindness pays the bills? Daniel added. Their words stung, but I trained myself to absorb their poison. What I didn't know was that my endurance was about to be rewarded in ways they could never imagine. Back home, I worked endlessly, feeding livestock, patching fences, scraping by. My mother nagged. Daniel mocked from his city apartment. Then came the night that changed everything. The sun was sinking, fields painted orange. I was hammering a fence post when I heard engines growling. Deep, heavy engines. Not farm trucks. Dust rose on the road. 3 black SUVs pulled up, doors opening in unison. Men in uniform stepped out, boots thudding against gravel. Evelyn Carter, one called. My mother appeared on the porch, apron flapping. What is this? Who are you? Daniel stumbled out, clutching a beer, suddenly sober. I'm Evelyn, I said, raising my hand. The rear SUV door opened. Out stepped the veteran from the plane, except he wasn't limping in rags anymore. He wore a decorated uniform, medals gleaming, posture proud despite his scars. He stopped before me and saluted. Miss Carter, I'm Colonel Nathaniel Hayes. You may not remember me. I remember, I whispered. That day on the plane, you saw me when no one else would. You gave me dignity when even strangers turned away. I've not forgotten. Daniel's beer bottle slipped and shattered. My mother gasped. But there's more, Hayes continued, his voice sharp. I know how your family has treated you. How they mocked you. Belittled you. You don't know us, my mother snapped. I know enough, he cut her off. He gestured and soldiers carried forward boxes, deeds, sealed envelopes. Your father was more than a farmer, Hayes said. During the war, he supplied food to our units in secret. He saved lives. His contributions were buried in bureaucracy. I dug them up. He handed me a folder. Inside were legal documents, commendations, and grants. Effective immediately, your farm is debt-free. Restorations will begin at once. And you, Evelyn, are the sole legal owner. My mother staggered. Daniel's face turned crimson. This isn't right, Mom sputtered. It's our farm, too. Hayes's scarred face hardened. No. You forfeited that with your cruelty. This land belongs to Evelyn. Now she decides who stays. Silence fell heavy. For once I wasn't the fool. I wasn't the weak one. I held the power. And the revenge tasted sweeter than anything I'd ever imagined. That night, after the SUVs rumbled away and neighbors whispered behind curtains, I stood on the porch clutching the folder. For the first time in years I breathed freely. Inside, my mother wept. Daniel cursed. But their voices no longer chained me. Weeks later, the farm transformed. Soldiers repaired barns, painted fences, planted crops. The land bloomed again. Neighbors who once mocked me now sought advice. Respect replaced pity. And my family, they faded into irrelevance. Mom sulked, realizing her control was gone. Daniel left, muttering betrayal. I didn't care. The farm was mine. My father's legacy was mine. My dignity was restored. Colonel Hayes visited sometimes, not as a hero but as a friend. He reminded me, kindness is a weapon they never see coming. And I understood. My revenge hadn't been screaming or fighting. It had been enduring, staying true to myself, offering kindness in the face of cruelty. That kindness came back sharper than any blade. So when the sun sets over my flourishing fields, I smile. Because the girl they mocked, the fool they dismissed, became the woman who silenced them all. All because I gave up a seat on a plane. The end.